Guys, I'm going to walk you guys through how to make Parker on the Porch's little bat banner. He's super cute. We're going to start out with doing just regular old tearaway. We're going to add some more tearaway later because his eyes are really dense on here. But right now I'm just going to leave it with my one sheet of tearaway on my 5x7. I'm going to go ahead and stitch step 1 onto the stabilizer, and let's get started. I'll come back and show you what that looks like. Okay guys, that's what that placement stitch looks like. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my fabric. I'm going to use this really thin canvas vinyl. This is canvas glitter vinyl, and it's really thin. I'm going to go ahead and put that over my stitch lines. Just make sure you get it completely over all placement lines and you will be good to go. Now we're going to run the next step, which is going to be the placement step for the bat's eyes. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch that, and I will come back and show you what that placement step looks like. Guys, that's what the placement stitch looks like for the eyes. I'm going to go ahead and take my next fabric. I'm going to use this white Geo vinyl, and I'm going to put it over this placement stitch, and now you're going to tack it down with step 3. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch step 3 onto this, and it's going to tack it down, and it's going to do the same shape as those eyes. So just make sure those are covered. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, this is what it looks like. It went ahead and tacked that down. Now, this is appliquing. I'm going to use some applique scissors, and I am going to cut as close as I can along these stitches. So I'm just going to lift this to the side and just cut around here. It's a little tight through here. Okay. I cut around the eyes. Now I take some extra time to look around here and cut any other excess that's coming here. The key to this is getting it cut close enough to your stitches without cutting the stitches, but you want it really close because the next step's going to be to go ahead and do the satin stitch, which is just a thick stitching that goes all the way around here. And you want to make sure you have this fabric cut down enough that it doesn't show on the outside of that satin stitch. So I always just cut and take some extra time to get it as clean as I can get it. Like I'm going to cut there and I'm going to cut that, get it as clean as I can, and then I will meet you back over at the machine to show you the next step. All the way around the design. The next step is step 4, and it is going to go ahead and do those satin stitches. So I'm going to leave white in there, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch step 4. I will come back and show you what that looks like. This is what that satin stitch looks like. Now I'm going to take it off my hoop, and I'm going to add some extra stabilizer because the next few steps, the inside of the eye is really dense to filled design, and I'm going to give it some extra stability so it ends up looking better. So I'm going to just put an extra piece of stabilizer back here, and I'm just taping it on the back. Now if you prefer, you can hoop 2 pieces of stabilizer from the beginning, but you're using more stabilizer than you need, and I'm just going to add it now, just so it has a little more support when it's going to stitch these really thick eyes. That's all fill stitch, and it's going to be pretty thick. So I'm going to go ahead and change my thread to black, and I'm going to stitch step 5, which is the inside of the bat's eyes, the black. Stitch looks like right there. So now we're going to go ahead and stitch the next step, which is step 6, and that's going to go ahead and do satin stitches around that fill stitch, and it's also going to stitch the little nose. So I'm going to go ahead and run step 6, and I will come back and show you what that looks like. What the eyes look like, and the nose is done. Now it's going to do the cute little nose holes. So I went and changed my color to this bright green. I'm going to do the mouth and the nose holes with that bright green, and I will come back and show you what that looks like. I'm going to go ahead and run step 8, which is the mouth. So I'm going to run that and I will come back and show you what the mouth looks like. I'm going to move on to step 9. It's going to go ahead and stitch the bat lines within the wings. So I'm going to do those purple. I changed my thread to purple and I'm going to go ahead and stitch that and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. What the lines within the bat wings look like. Now we're going to go ahead and stitch the next step, which is step 10, and it's going to just do some of the details around the bat's head. And I'm going to go ahead and stitch that and I'll come back and show you what that looks like. There's the face lines. Now we're going to run one more step on the face. This is going to be the 2 lines that we don't end up stitching on the back of the bag to give us our holes to allow for ribbon to run through the bag. So we're going to go ahead and stitch step 11 directly on here with the same color. You're going to want the same color you're using for the face. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch that and I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, this is what our little bat looks like so far. We are on our last step, so we need to take our hoop off our machine, flip it over. This is the back with our extra stabilizer, and I'm going to use felt on the back of mine. So I'm going to go ahead and just make sure I have a big enough piece of felt that covers all of my stitch lines. And then I'm going to go ahead and tape it down. I'm just going to use Scotch tape, and then I'm going to bring it back to my machine and stitch the last step, which is step 12. And then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. And there's what the front of the bat looks like. This is what the back looks like. So we're going to go ahead and take it off our hoop because we are done stitching. And we're going to take all this tearaway off. Any of the tape or whatever you want to get off. Okay, get my extra tape off. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and cut all the way around the design. You don't have to watch for anything on these. Everything's fine. So I cut as close to the stitches as I can just because it gives me a better guideline. It keeps me more consistent because you have a guide to go by. Oops, I'm just going to cut that off. And when I get to the corners there, I put my scissors, the end, exactly where I want it, where I'm not going to cut the stitches, and then I cut down. It just keeps me from cutting the stitch lines. Okay. Almost done. You're going to want a good short pair of scissors for this detail work. It cuts really nice. Okay, I'm going to put my scissors up to the... Okay, this is what the bat looks like fully cut out. I just cut the rest of the little edges. And then you can go ahead and cut any of the little strings that are back here. But what you can see here is where there's no stitching, this is where your hole is. You can see I'm going to put a pin through there. That's where you're going to run your ribbon through, and it will hang like a cute little banner. So there you are. That's it. That's all you had to do. Now I went ahead and I did the other one, so I'm going to show you how to lace them all. So I'm going to go get my stuff ready and then I'll show you how to put the stuff through. Okay guys, we have the bat. I made 2 bats, but you have a bat, a ghost, and a pumpkin. And the way that I'm going to go ahead and put these together, I can put the ghost in the middle. I went ahead and taped my ribbon onto the end of just a dowel stick, something long. And you're going to go back here and you're going to open the hole. And you're just going to push it through. And then I'm going to get the next thing. And I'm going to open the hole and push it through. And I'm going to do the same for the third, the pumpkin. I'm just going to push it through. And I actually have a fourth one. I made a girl bat too. It's the same file, I just used girl colors. And I'm going to push it through. And so now I have the ribbon through, so I'm just going to go ahead and take this out. And you can see now they're all attached like in a banner. And now you can go put it in a banner. It's super cute, super fun. Hope you enjoyed this video.